You're listening to The Signal Daily. Hi, I'm Shorbury, your host for The Signal Daily podcast. And this is the episode for 20th May 2024. Today, we dive into Netflix's tryst with live sports and the allegations of human rights abuse that taint the EV industry's supply chain network. Stay tuned till the end of this episode. Netflix is no longer just flirting with sports. It's going all in. The streaming giant announced a 3-season deal with the NFL to become the exclusive global home for 2 marquee Christmas Day games each year, starting in 2025. For years, Netflix has dabbled in the sports-adjacent areas with hits like, say, the Formula One docuseries Drive to Survive and the occasional quirky live event like the Roast of Tom Brady. But scoring actual NFL game rights is seismic shift. And this signals Netflix's intent to crash the live sports party in a major way. Netflix's chief content officer said recently, and I quote, "We decided to take a massive bet on live events last year, tapping into huge fandoms across comedy, reality TV, sports, and more. There's simply no live annual event that commands audiences like the NFL does." End quote. So the 2 Christmas Day tilts will pit the Houston Texans versus the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Kansas City Chiefs, with the streaming world surely hoping for a potential Taylor Swift sighting to spike the viewership even higher. But the question is, why is the streaming platform suddenly so thirsty for live sports? There are a couple of reasons here. The US streaming market is currently maturing and subscription growth has been slow. Essentially, Netflix needs new revenue streams beyond just subscriber fees to keep expanding. Also, live sports remain the holy grail for advertisers as one of the few remaining appointment viewing experiences where audiences show up in real time, especially for the rating behemoth that is the NFL. For instance, last month, Netflix revealed its ad-supported tier now has over 40 million global users after just 1 year. Clearly, it has taken advertising very seriously as a growth engine here. Media tech analyst Richard Greenfield described the NFL deal as Netflix, quote-unquote, putting its stake in the ground on becoming an advertising powerhouse in an interview with the New York Times. So, essentially, getting a piece of those NFL advertising dollars is a potential gold mine. A single NFL game features around 20 commercial breaks and over 100 ads. With over 30 million viewers tuning in for some broadcasts, that's a lucrative audience to tap into through both subscriptions and commercials. Of course, Netflix has already made other moves into live sports programming, like signing a massive 10-year deal for WWE's weekly shows and plans to stream a Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul boxing match this July. But being the global home for actual NFL games, well, that's Netflix's biggest power move yet into the live sports realm that it has merely been adjacent to until now. The NFL too has been steadily unbundling its broadcast rights, with Amazon now owning Thursday Night Football and others like Apple's reportedly pursuing NBA packages. And this Netflix partnership continues that streaming strategy evolution. But for Netflix, the big question now is whether it can successfully pull off producing and delivering a live sports broadcast of this massive scale and quality. I guess it's game on for Netflix. For our second segment, we are going to bring you deep dives on stories from the world of technology, business, policy, and anything that leaves you with food for thought. You know, as we talk about the effects of climate change and pollution, there is a consensus in global forums for the urgency to switch from fossil fuels to greener, cleaner energy. And one of the biggest transitions in that regard is being witnessed in the transportation sector, where electric vehicles are promising lower operational costs along with lower greenhouse gas emissions than conventional petrol and diesel cars, all thanks to the battery technology that runs them. Now, while there is a thumping enthusiasm for this green transition, you can't help but notice the ironies that come with it. And by that, I mean the mining and the human rights abuses problem. As you may already know, minerals like cobalt, bauxite, natural graphite, lithium, manganese, and nickel are critical for this growing EV industry. That's what goes into the making of EV batteries. And the International Energy Agency, or the IEA, estimated that electric cars use 173 kilos more minerals than fossil-fueled cars, and that the overall mineral demand from EVs will grow by nearly 30 times between 2020 and 2040, with demand for lithium and nickel growing by around 40 times. I mean, lithium is probably one of the hottest commodities right now. So much in demand that the IEA estimates looming lithium shortages by 2025. The two side effects of this are ecological risks and labor rights violations. And in this episode, we'll look at the latter. So as a report from the Business and Human Rights Resource Center, or BHRRC, points out, the rush to secure all those minerals to meet this growing demand, the large-scale mining operations for renewable energy technologies, electrification, and batteries, is also leading to major allegations of human rights abuses, gross negligence in occupational health and safety procedures at mining sites, along with an unacceptable number of workers' deaths. As per the BHRRC, there have been 631 allegations of human rights abuses since 2010 for 7 key minerals used in EVs, and 91 out of these have come from just 2023. The report states that a quote-unquote marked increase in labor rights violations and worker deaths made up roughly 40% of these allegations from 2023. And labor violations, including 53 work-related deaths, make up a quarter of all allegations. What's more, while many of the allegations were made against a small group of 10 companies, as The Verge found out, these companies have supply chain links to 3 of the world's biggest EV manufacturers, Volkswagen Group, Tesla, and BYD. So far, the Chinese state-owned China Minmetals is the top ranker when it comes to allegations of rights abuse, followed by Swiss mining giant Glencore. And as The Verge points out, in 2017, Volkswagen had signed an agreement with Glencore and battery maker Contemporary Amperex Technology, or CATL, under which CATL would buy 20,000 metric tons of cobalt products from Glencore for Volkswagen's EV batteries. If you look at Tesla, according to the company's 2021 and 2022 impact reports, it buys nickel from a Glencore mine in Australia and cobalt from 2 Glencore mines in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And in 2022, workers at one of those cobalt mines told The Verge about unsafe working conditions, which included inadequate food and water breaks. And as for BYD, China Minmetal subsidiary Hunan Changyuan Lico is reportedly one of the automaker's lithium battery material suppliers. Another potential concern is the threat to indigenous rights, as many deposits of minerals that are needed in clean energy transition or are used in EV batteries fall on or near lands belonging to indigenous groups. A 2023 study had identified 5,097 mining projects involving about 30 minerals, 54% of which are located on or near indigenous peoples' lands. Or if you look at a 2022 report by MSCI, in the US, 97% of nickel, 89% of copper, 79% of lithium, and 68% of cobalt are located within 35 miles of Native American reservations. There are many similar examples from Brazil, Peru, and other nations as well. Without a doubt, most supply chains have cases of rights violations. But will the EV industry be able to set the record straight? If you like listening to The Signal Daily, please show some support. Rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We'd love to hear what you have to say about this podcast. So feel free to shoot an email at hello@thesignal.co. This episode was researched, written, and produced by me, Shorbari, and Manaswini. Edited by Roshni Nair. Mastered and mixed by Yash Hirve. You can catch this podcast every morning on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime Music, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We are thesignal.co on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter.